Good evening and welcome to the December 2022 meeting of the Board of Trustees for the Penfield Public Library. We're glad you're with us, and I'll call the meeting to order. The first item on our agenda is the review of the minutes. Did everyone have a chance to look them over? And are there any changes, or is there a motion to approve them as they are?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you. Jen will second. Thank you to Raj and Jen. All in favor? Thank you. And Niraj, would you like to do the financial report for us?
Sure. We're going to start from the budget summary. We have data through November, so we're pretty much done with the year. 92% of the data is in. So I'd like to drop down to total expenses. Total revenues looking great. Total expenses, 78% versus our threshold right now at 92%. So that's huge. That's great control for our expenses. The biggest savings was on our contractuals. That's 80% versus our 92%. Our materials came in much better than variance budget at 84%, and our wages were just in line at 86%. So all in all, it's been a great year. I don't see much change going into December. There were 2 CDs that matured since the last meeting, and we did have a motion to renew them, and I used the guidance that the board gave me. So the first CD, I moved $10,000 into the money builders at Family First, and I renewed the balance in a 11-month CD at 3%. The second CD matured also, and I renewed the entire balance in the 11-month special rate at 3% as well. Our gift and memorial funds, they were largely unchanged from last year, and that's pretty much all that I have to say. Can we have a motion?
Would you like to move that we approve?
I would like to move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Rachel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Financials are approved. Thank you very much. This meeting is open to the public, and it is also available through Penfield Public Television and on YouTube for those of you who would like to watch it again. And all our meetings are there. Linda, would you like to give the town liaison report?
Okay, it's the end of the year. The exciting kind of things are that if you haven't seen this, the recreation bulletin was sent out, and there's so many great programs taking place starting December 12th for registration. So that was last week, and for the spring. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out or go online because it's right there under recreation and on the website. And, we're getting ready for next year. We have a whole month of priorities and goals for the different departments, and so that'll be good. And I think everybody knows that our supervisor took a leave of absence, and Debbie Draw, our deputy supervisor, is now the acting supervisor. I was with her tonight. We were doing the menorah ceremony with the rabbi and Amy Stakaloff in the Four Corners. I mean, there's all the holiday things that have been happening here, already taken place. The Christmas celebration that was for the kids on December 10th, and I don't know. A lot of stuff going on, and we're looking forward to next year.
The tree looks really good out there.
Yeah. Oh, this tree out here, too.
Yeah,
is the reason. Yeah, that's nice. Woody Acres donated that tree, and the staff here in the town hall decorated it with ornaments. It's, kind of like a good bonding thing for them. And one of the gardener clubs, I can't remember the name of it, they came and decorated all the garland and stuff out there in the rotunda and make it festive. Mm-hmm.
Even Four Corners, it's nice that there's more lights out there.
Right, that was
so pretty when I was driving by on 5 Mile. And
yeah, we haven't had that in so long.
Yeah, that looks really nice, doesn't it?
That was one of our things.
To have the garland around those.
Yes.
That was new, right? I mean, I haven't noticed.
The town did that.
We haven't had town, we used to have snowflakes and so on like that, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. But everything was kind of not in great shape, so this is good. And they've worked on the lighting to make sure all the lights are working now. They weren't, the north end, it wasn't working, and now they are. It's not an easy process, because these are not our poles, our G&E poles, and they're a little difficult and everything, but our Jim Kreckman in the facilities department, they've been out there, and yeah, it looks really nice. We've gotten a lot of compliments from residents.
Well, that's good.
Well, it does make the town look festive,
Yeah, you need that.
you know. So,
Brett, would you like to give the report on the Friends?
Yeah, I wasn't able to connect with the Friends this month, so nothing new to report, but I will follow up with them to confirm for next month.
Okay. We have committee reports. We've done finance. Rachel, is there anything on personnel?
Not from the committee, but Rhonda was,
We do have a new library page. Sam Josephson has joined our staff. He's a student in Penfield, and he's a reader and a library user, so we're very happy to have him.
Where is he a student?
I think at the high school.
oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Was he a page before?
No, he's never been a page, no.
Oh,
I
okay.
think he just turned 16, I'm trying to think.
Okay.
Maybe 17? I don't want to guess.
Well, welcome
It's his
to
first
him.
Sounds good.
Strategic planning, Melissa's not here.
do you need a motion from us for the page? Or Okay. Can I make a motion that we
Yes.
approve the new page?
Yes. And Judy, would you like to second?
I will
Okay.
second.
All in favor? All right, it's approved. Bylaws, I don't believe we have any, we have something to look over, but not to vote on this week. And not anything for communications. It's time for a report from our library staff. Julie and Peggy and Rhonda are going to talk about their trip to the NILA conference and share with us some of the things that they learned, which is going to be great. So come on down and
Barbara, really quickly, did we want to, we don't have anything to vote on, but we do have the personnel policy. Did we
Yes.
need to discuss that?
we don't need to discuss it, we need to read it.
Okay.
And I think we can discuss it next time, but it's pretty voluminous.
Okay.
And I don't know if everybody got a chance to read
Okay.
all of it.
I got through half of it. It is quite interesting.
It's interesting, but I was making notes, and then I ended up with other things to do, and I thought, wow, I'm not focusing on this the way I should. So I think next month would be a good time. Anyhow, let's go ahead. Peggy and Julie and Rhonda.
We went to the New York Library Association conference in Saratoga Springs between November 2nd and November 5th. And the three of us each had a very different experience because we went to different classes, some different networking opportunities, and some different just conversations with different people from around the country. So we will each tell you what we learned and what we did, and I'll start. So we did all go to the keynote address, which was The Beautiful Revolutionary Future with Courtney Herg. And she talked about how libraries need to grow and change, but also how those who have the opportunity to promote change should respect the cultural differences of those who are involved, and how we can move forward together with respect for each other. It was very interesting. I think we all really liked it a lot. She got a lot of applause at the end, something I'd never seen before or heard of before. It was very interesting. I went to 6 classes: top legal issues for libraries, preparing for a library construction project, self-care for managers, innovations in sustainable libraries, and, 2 more, library marketing in a changing world, and so you want to start a podcast. Each of the classes is usually about an hour and a quarter to an hour and a half. Each time you sit down next to librarians from someplace else, and you get to talking while you're waiting, and then you talk at the end again, so you get to connect quite a bit. I loved the top legal issues for libraries because these are issues that I've I've been to webinars many times, and of course, I have to read the law once in a while, but to have somebody just really lay out these issues and how libraries around the country are responding was I thought, very helpful. We are talking about some kind of renovation or construction in our near future with our strategic plan. There are all kinds of new grants and opportunities that I learned about and that I have lots and lots of notes for. I hope that we will include sustainable practices in whatever renovation we do. So I went to that, and that also, it's a cost up front, but it's a cost that you profit from in the years to come. So I would, once the time comes to discuss this, I have a lot of ideas. Marketing in a changing world, we're always looking for new ways to market our programs and our services, and a podcast. We have a couple of staff members who are interested in doing a podcast, so Peggy and I both went to that. It was presented by some staff members of the Pittsford Library, and
They did a good job.
so we wanted to support them, and they did a fantastic job, they really did. And then I went to the vendor, the trade show, 3 times, came back with 3 huge bags of pencils and pens and pads and stuff for the staff. And we all 3 of us put all of our loot out on a table for the staff to take, so that was it's always fun. Went to the inaugural awards dinner banquet, which was nice to see all the people in the library world doing different things. And we networked. We networked with a lot of people. We had dinners with different library people from MCLS, which is always fun. We saw Greece, we saw Pittsford, we saw Central. Webster? Henrietta. Yes, so it was, but then we saw people from elsewhere, not just in MCLS. So I think it's really important for staff to have this opportunity. I think it helps us to grow. I think it gives us this little extra burst of energy to learn and do new things here in Penfield. So that's why I was so glad that we could invite, all 3 of us could go. And so Julie, you can talk now about your experience.
Sure. So again, I did the same as Rhonda, the keynote address. What I liked about her was she just started out with imagine. I want everybody to just relax. I want you to close your eyes and just imagine, yourself. What would you want your perfect library to be? So it was just this huge room, but everybody, just quiet and thinking about that. And so that was really interesting. And we talked a little bit about it, afterwards. So that was fun to start out. And then I went to 2 different children's author sessions, which was great. And anytime I can see an author, I always try to do that. One I didn't know, and one I did know of, and both were great. The one that I wasn't familiar with, he just was so emotional. He just talked about being able to see yourself in books and kids seeing themselves in books, and he just was a terrific speaker, so I really enjoyed that. Then I was at 3 different workshops, 2 children's. I went to 5 different workshops, 2 children's, 2 teen, and then 1 adult, which really could be intergenerational. And the children's ones were, this was interesting, expanding student access with a pool pass. And this was Liverpool Central School District and how they were partnering with the Liverpool Public Library, and how the kids then would have access to all of the databases at the library. And it was just a quicker way for them to communicate and get the kids learning. So that was interesting. The other children's program I went to, was the Beyond Baby and Me. So I do the baby story hours at the library, which it's like one of my favorite things to do there. But this was, besides your traditional, story time with, occasional songs and different things, they said, how about if you just did an art program with the mom and babies? Or what if you just did music one time? Or they said you have a captive audience, maybe invite a speaker from your community to come in and just talk with the moms and babies. So they had a lot of different kinds of ideas that,
idea.
Hadn't thought about, and you could see how they would work. So like Rhonda said, it's just so nice to go and, attend these classes and talk to different people, and you do end up bringing a lot of things back. So, and then built-in times to go see the vendors. And yeah, I just want to thank you for the opportunity. It was really great.
Well, I'm glad you were able to go. I think it's important also to go and to kind of get refreshed and see that there's a world beyond your own library and what you're part of on a larger scale.
Yes.
And then you want to come back and do everything.
Right.
Because everything's so exciting.
Julie,
So
who were
what
the
kind-
authors that you saw?
Sure. It was Alex Sanchez and Kate Messner.
Oh.
Oh.
And she was just being awarded, her latest award, but she's a, New York Times bestselling author and has written everything from picture book reader, fiction, nonfiction. I mean, she's really written.
Tons.
Yes.
She has.
Yeah. So it was, so she was accepting an award and then talking and, all the authors always thank us and are so appreciative to us because then we in turn are, buying the books and sharing them with everybody. So.
Is he a new author, the gentleman?
No, actually not. In fact, Lila, I guess, had him at Penfield because he's a YA author.
Yeah, I thought he was YA, yeah.
Yeah, so, but he's writing, he has written books, several years ago, but he's also writing right now as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what kinds of new ideas did you come up? Don't you want to
Hear
do?
from Peggy.
Oh, sorry, Peggy. I'm more excited than they are.
Thank you. I want to thank you for the opportunity to do this, too. As you know, I've been around for a long time, and I used to go to a lot of meetings, and what was really interesting for me was some of the people. I used to be involved as treasurer of a Reference and Adult Services section for the New York Library Association. I got to meet a lot of people then, and there were a few people that were still around that I was able to see, which was nice. But anyway, for the, Rhonda and Julie, I really enjoyed the keynote address. It turned out that Courtney Harg was the artistic director of a Brooklyn, New York theater company, and she offered 4 different directions for change. 1, imagine your beautiful revolutionary future. 2, find your path to it. 3, bring someone along with you. And 4, practice being in that future as often as you can. And that was something that we don't often have a chance to do. So it was something that you reflect on, and it was very helpful. I did go to the trade show, too, picked up some things. The first workshop that I went to was Combating Racism. And that was a very good program. That was the whole theme of that. There were speakers, let's see where I get my, the whole idea was to create spaces in your library to educate and inform your community about serious social issues, invite speakers to discuss these topics, and invite the public to participate. It was conducted by Queensborough Public Library staff and New York Public. And some of the experiences that I've had in some of the programs have been involved with racism, and I'm hoping to continue more. So that was really helpful. It kind of reinforced the idea that the public really wants to do that. A few years ago, we had some more serious topics, and people said they were really looking for that. They didn't want just your traditional travelogue fodder and things like that. So I was really pleased. So I've got to work on that a little bit more. So I picked up some good tips. I went to a program, Weeding as a Social Justice Project, and that's something that, of course, a lot of us, it's hard for us to get rid of things as librarians, but the fact that the collections have changed so much, and as a sign of the times, especially for all age levels, we need to be aware of things that are no longer relevant, that be dangerous to have in a collection for people to pick up, that we can, so there were some good tips given with that. Different materials that show prejudice, racism, and stereotypical portrayals, which we know now there's a lot that needs to be done in that area, so that was very helpful. And then I went to one called It's Okay to Be Just a Library. And I think that, I guess what we always, it was a Pioneer Public Library Section program that was primarily focused on not jumping on all the latest trends, but kind of focus on what we do best, provide a good collection, well-trained staff, excellent programs, and fine customer service. And I think that's one of our hallmarks here at Penfield Public Library, thanks to our director and the staff that we have. So that was Lynbrook Public Library staff. They conducted that, and they emphasized 5 core values: community, access, respectfulness, equity, and service. And that was, we still have to, there's many things we don't want to bury our head in the sand and not get involved with new things, but we still have to remember what our whole mission is. So that was helpful. And then I went to innovative programs for older adults. And as everybody knows, that's my primary responsibility, and also fit into that category. So so that was Brooklyn Public Library staff. And it was kind of interesting because they said, you think of many people who are older, they may not want to do a lot of the new technology, but then especially when, for example, the weather isn't very good and you want to stay home, you're able to Zoom and do some things. You feel more comfortable doing that. So they were finding that the patrons, they thought might be reluctant to come and participate in some of these programs, really, and appreciated having that opportunity to try the new technology and do this and learn quite a bit. So. We've done, quite a few programs here at Penfield and I hope to continue to do more. I know one thing that came up just recently was we have a great decisions program that we've had, and there was a suggestion to maybe do that like a hybrid, but I don't think that's going to work out. We're going back to having in-person programs primarily, but people, we're getting very comfortable to do a lot of the programs with the new technology and stay in their homes, stay in their pajamas, not have to go out on a cold night. And we found, that's worked out very well with some of our programming. Our whole idea right now, and I think Rhonda's reinforced that, is to return to in-person if we can, barring anything unforeseen. But there are a few things that we're still doing virtually. And then I went to Public Library Section Author Program, and that was Xochitl Gonzalez, who's the author of Olga Dies Dreaming, which was a 2022 book, and it was her debut novel about Olga being a successful New York City wedding planner and her brother, who were forced to confront their past and their futures in New York City in the wake of what happened in Hurricane Maria back in Puerto Rico. They were both from Puerto Rico. And the author, it was a kind of an interesting program in that the author was interviewed by a person who she talked about life in Puerto Rico and the devastation that was caused by Hurricane Maria and how they were adapting to that in New York City. And just kind of, it was really difficult for her in the beginning, and it was a very interesting novel. We have it in the library, and it is one that, I don't know, Rhonda, I think you might have read it, did you, too? Or I did take it. I did.
You take it out and
I did take it, yeah. I didn't read the whole thing. I had it, in fact, I brought it with me.
I think it was
And
a
that
very
was-
busy time.
Right.
I will pick it up again.
And I know, it was on our, best seller list, too.
Yeah.
And then the next one I did was Beyond Ramp, Serving People with Disabilities. And that was conducted by a supervising librarian at Brooklyn Public Library, who discussed the barriers to service in our libraries and how to eliminate them, and being sure that we have virtual accessibility for all of our patrons and staff. And that was a very, I learned quite a bit with that, too, that it just really, we want to recognize where people are at and how, and that people, and I think we're very helpful to people at our library if they have difficulty. I think we kind of, go out of the way to do that, and we're trying to, I've been working with the Hearing Loss Association because a good friend of mine who used to be a volunteer got me involved, and we're going to have a program, in fact, on hearing loss, and they will be actually testing everyone's hearing in a little kiosk in one of our study rooms on January 7th. So we had that back in November, and we did pretty well with that, so we're hoping to, repeat that again. And I think even a lot of young people who maybe been exposed to heavy metal music, we're finding they went in and realized, I really do have a hearing loss.
He does.
So that's just one
son does.
example. So I was glad that we've been doing that. And then the last one, of course, was the one that Rhonda mentioned about the podcast with our colleagues at Pittsford Library. And I think you were hoping that some people here on the staff might take that on. So it was very good. So all in all, it was a very good conference. And as I said, it was nice to see some of the people that I hadn't seen a long time ago that were still around. You kind of, it makes you feel dated. But I said, one woman, I heard her, and I just said, I've got to go up and see. And she said, she was director of a library. And I said, we're still around. It's kind of, you keep going. So it was but thank you again for the opportunity to participate in the New York Library Association.
Well,
I'm really
thank you.
glad we
And,
did.
maybe some of the staff would like to think of a program that the Penfield Public Library could present, because I think that one of you made the point that we do a lot of things well in our library, and I think that that's true, and I think it would be wonderful. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but, if you come across something and say, wow, we do that better than other people, or at least as well, because everybody does things a little differently, and so whatever you have to say, someone will learn from.
Right.
And I think that in itself could be a learning experience for people as much as going and attending.
Absolutely. But as you can see, between the three of us, we did, go to over 20 classes, and plus networking opportunities, plus luncheons and dinners and author talks. And we did meet with staff members to tell the staff members what we did in more detail so that they can learn as well. So, webinars are fantastic, and MCLS has classes, and so many of us are on committees, with MCLS, and we see our colleagues through that. But having, the opportunity to go to a conference is really invaluable for our staff. So the three of us went this year, and hopefully perhaps 3 different staff members can go next year and kind of share the wealth.
And then at some point in the near future, that will come back to Rochester, will it not?
It's actually not coming back to Rochester for the foreseeable future. On the website, you can see the calendar for the next 5 or 6 years, and it's kind of going back and forth between
It's Syracuse and Saratoga.
Yeah. I think it's just very central for New York State, and they probably, I know that they broke records. They had more people at this conference than they've ever had physically, so I think that's what they're expecting. They used to go around even.
They used to go to Buffalo and Rochester, and
and that was always fun because you got to see all the libraries and all of those locales, and that I actually am sorry that they're changing it, but I understand why they are.
Well, I do too.
So I want to thank my 2 colleagues here for coming out tonight and sharing their information and their thoughts with you.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you would like. You don't have to feel like you have to rush off.
Thank you very much.
We're now ready for the director's report. Does anyone have any questions for Rhonda? I had one from
Yes, go ahead.
something I noticed. The new printer for the patrons. Can you tell us about that? What the reason was for getting a new one, and where it is, and how easy it is to access? And
Yes, it's actually not a new printer. Did I write new? Because we've had this printer.
I think that Todd wrote new.
Yes, we've had this printer. It is the machine that the public has been using to copy materials for about, I think, 2 years now. We've had it on lease. But we did have a separate printer that we were using for the computers that was nearing the end of its life, and it wasn't working so well. So Mike Baruti, our tech person, was able to figure out how to have all the copies and the prints go to this one machine that's on lease, that we have a very good price for each print. So now it's just kind of consolidated, and it's over towards the right where there was a big table for tech help. That's been moved because we're not seeing the numbers of people asking to sit with us to talk about overdrive and e-materials. So everything has been moved. It's very simple. It's just the one machine. So you go to the same kiosk where you always went and said, I want to print out my job, and put your library card number in and put your money in, and then you just move over a few steps to this now combo printer copier, and it'll pop right out. Very easy.
It sounds like a much better system,
And no new costs for us, so.
even better.
Some other highlights, we did finish our annual evaluation meetings for all staff members now, so that is done. I did have a meeting with the Friends to talk about our 2023 budget, and they are being very kind and generous as always. And it looks like we are going to be funded for the first year of the New York Times database. That will probably begin in about 6 weeks. And this is a great database. And the Friends will pay for the first year so that we can try it out and see if it is worthwhile. After that, in 2024, if we decide to keep it, we'll take it out of town budget. But basically, anybody with a Penfield library card can go to our website on a daily basis, click on a link, get a code, and have full access to the New York Times news. Yeah, for the 24 hours. And then the next day, if they want to do it again, it is unlimited. And they're not counting how many people are going to be doing it.
Okay.
So for the first year, I think we'll just have to market this product and let people know it exists. And I do believe that it'll be very popular.
Is it a subscription?
It's a virtual subscription. So yes, it's a subscription, but every day they have to click on our website link.
Okay.
For that
And go in
24-hour
through the
access.
Penfield Public.
And go in.
Did you?
Oh, is it just for the Times? Is there any other publications we'll get access to?
That is the New York Times database.
Okay.
So it covers the news, and the Friends are purchasing a portion of the gaming that they provide, the crossword puzzle, the Wordle, and so on. And we'll cover a bit of that as well. We have the money in our database budget. So we're going to try this and see how it goes. But, the staff is very excited about introducing a new database, and we want to constantly bring up new products for our users. And if they don't work, they don't work. If people aren't interested, we'll try something else next year. But I do think the New York Times is something that will work. So thank you to the Friends for the generosity. I also met with the Penfield Foundation, Kathy Weber, and we talked about some possibilities for 2023. Those are really the highlights.
I had a question about the foundation and what kind of future projects that they had in mind, and what kind of donations are they subscribing? Are they eliciting from different organizations, or that just comes in as a goodwill kind of thing?
They are trying to get the word out that they exist, and let the community members know that this is an option for them. They are doing I know they've been doing wine tastings every 3 months or so as a fundraiser. When people donate to the library, it typically does go to the foundation unless we are told otherwise. So right now, that's what they're doing, but they are researching other options.
Yeah, okay. I was just wondering, because there's a plethora of things that can come their way if, there's the support for them, so.
Absolutely. Right. So the big donation, the big grant. So we did get the $20,000 Senate grant from Senator Brock.
Brook.
I'm always saying that wrong.
Brook.
It's Senator Brook. Thank you, Senator Brooke. Thank you, thank you, thank you. $20,000 to bring in a nationally known author to Penfield Public Library. And again, this project is a collaboration between the Penfield Library, the Pittsford Library, and the Central Library. Each library is getting a grant to bring in a nationally known author. Pittsford Library is going to bring in Susan Orlean.
Really?
Central Library is bringing in Jason Reynolds. And we are not yet in contract with, but almost in contract with Marie Benedict.
Wow.
So it looks good with her, and I'm really very hopeful that this will go through. So the idea is that at each program, there'll be a portion of the audience saved for Pittsford, a portion saved for Central, a portion saved for Penfield. And it's just amazingly exciting, so.
And is this the grant that brought Jason Mott in this fall?
No,
a different one?
Totally different organization.
Okay, that was through Writers and Books.
Right.
But I wondered if she had provided some money for that.
No.
Well, that is exciting.
It's so exciting, yes.
So
thank
has
you.
the safety committee changed? Is that anything different than what, is that just an update for the Town of Penfield Safety Committee meeting?
We meet monthly.
Okay. I didn't know if they had any new recommendations or were going to do anything
Nothing official
different.
that I can talk about now.
Are there any other questions for Rhonda? Anything else you'd like to say, Rhonda?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We are now going to go out to the rotunda for a brief executive session. We will be back, I believe, very quickly.
Okay.
So this meeting is adjourned for a few minutes.
Hang out with the girls.
I was going to put my coat on, but I didn't want it to look bad.
Oh, we also want to make.
So you should be getting up. Did you get like the other one Debbie sent?
Sarah.
Last Friday night,
Did it work out nice?
and he was at Melbourne after hours. They're at 6.
Yeah. They kind of engaged with it.
Yeah, because it was,
You got the spouses?
no, it's
Just the, okay.
just they're happy to play games and have
A retreat.
and that's what it was.
So I'm putting on my coat before we get the camera. I'm freezing. I'm freezing.
Okay. We are ready for new business. And that is the children's furniture.
Yes, thank you. So I gave you a color version of what we sent out so that you can see. I think color really just sets off. The furniture in the children's room has been there for 20 years. It's excellent furniture, but it does need some care. So I think if you look at the pictures, you can see that it's just simply one. In the first picture, that's an adult-sized easy chair that you see it's just, the fabric is just pilled and dirty and stained. In the second picture, you see the sectional that's over by the puzzles, and you can see that all the edges are ripped and torn. And then the last picture is the small love seat that we have, and it's a harder one to see in the picture, but the seams are ripped. They're just straining and they're open. So, because our strategic plan does include either a renovation or a new building, hopefully within 5 years, I really I don't propose to spend a great deal of money, but at the same time, we want something, for the next few years. So I have two prices for you. One is to get it reupholstered, and one is brand-new furniture. My recommendation is to reupholster all of these pieces. It's the one sectional, it's the one love seat, and it's 2 adult chairs. And the cost of all of that together is about $6,000 to reupholster. We did find a very colorful, playful pattern that has fish on it, which kind of goes with our whole theme in the children's room. But again, we are not decorating the room in any new way. We are not adding new colors. We just kind of want this to keep going for the next few years until we're ready for something bigger. If we decide to keep it, that's great too. If we decide to move on with new furniture, then we really haven't invested that much. But at least we have something suitable for the next few years. If you decide you'd rather have new furniture, I do have that estimate. That's from a company that's on state contract. The cost of that furniture would be $8,000, but that's only for the sectional and love seat. It does not include the 2 adult chairs. The patterns we were given from that company are not nearly as playful and childish. They're very adult. They're fine. The colors match, but I don't want to have to build a room around 2 tiny pieces of furniture either. So I don't know if we'd reuse those. So here we're saving $2,000 by reupholstering. The people who came out to give us the estimate said the furniture is in good shape, the actual furniture underneath the fabric, and they are including all kinds of foam and whatever else that you need to make sure it looks brand new.
So how old is the furniture that we have now? Did you say 20? It's been there?
20 years.
So if we replace it with new furniture, the quality and the workmanship is usually not the same in this day and age as it was 20 years ago. So,
and we just don't know what shape what shapes we want, where we want them, if we want an ottoman, we just don't know. It's just.
But you can always put this someplace else. I mean, eventually, if you needed to.
Well, I want to go back to the estimate that you have. Did you get 2 other estimates on reupholstering?
I have not found 2 other estimates, but if we go with, either way, I do have to get 2 other estimates, or I have to figure out that there are no other estimates for us to go forward.
Right, I mean,
yes.
You have to either ask people and have them say, no, we're not interested.
Yes. I'm bringing this to you right now because I want to know, if we can possibly pay for it with 2022 funding, we can find the money on lines, move that over, and put in an encumbrance for it.
Can you do that?
Yes.
And it's going to take 12 weeks to do it.
It'll take 12 weeks to do it, but if we encumber the money now before the end of the year,
Right.
we'll be paying out of this year's budget. I know that previously, when we've talked about large expenditures, Barbara, you had said, talk to you first because there is the Gift and Memorial Fund, and you wanted to have the choice of using that fund versus town funding. And either way, I still have to get the 3 quotes. I just want to know today which you prefer the funding comes from, and if you think that we should go ahead with the project.
I think that's the critical question. Do we think that we should go ahead with the project? Do you think new furniture versus reupholstery?
I mean, I think from the pictures, I think it's pretty obvious that certainly, I think the project in general needs to be done. And I kind of agree with, Rhonda's rationale that with the reupholstering, especially if they are saying the furniture is currently in good condition, the reupholstering includes the sectional, the love seat, and the chairs. And then we also aren't, potentially looking at brand new furniture. And then if we do have to move around or something, so I think that moving forward with looking at reupholstering, especially if they've said, the existing furniture is in good condition.
I like the reupholster too a lot.
I like that. When I moved into my condo a few years ago, I had some furniture reupholstered, and I had someone come out and look at it and say, is this worth reupholstering, just like Rhonda did. And when people say yes, I think that is the way to go. I don't know if you want to be locked into the fish. I mean, if that...
I was just thinking that as well.
It's really nice, though, the children's room is if you, I don't know when the last time you went into the children's room, but I like a children's room that is marketed for children. I really do. I want kids to look in and just run and jump onto that couch and say, oh, look at the fish, it's just like this. So the children's librarians and I went together to the store to look at the different fabrics, and all three of us found this to be the best choice. And we did talk to the salesperson. We said, we want something that's really durable. We don't want something that's going to be ripped within these potentially 5 years. Is this something that will last? And, he looked at the thread counts and all the fabrics that we had picked out, and he did say, yes, this is a good choice.
Is there something along with the fish? I mean, do you want the fish on every single piece of furniture?
The adult chair, I think, how did we do it? The adult chairs are not fish. The adult chairs are solid that match.
But all the children's furniture is fish.
No, well, we have,
There's only two
there's not a lot of children's
It's just
furniture.
the sectional.
Well,
and
the
then-
sectional has lots of pieces.
The sectional is tiny, actually, when you think of the
Yeah.
sectional. It's a child-sized sectional.
It's like
That would be
square
fish.
feet.
And then all the way in the back of the library, next to another solid chair, will be the small love seat in fish. So it's not overwhelming by any means. And if we want, we could always get like a solid pillow or something if we feel like it's too much.
I like playful. I enjoy that for a children's room.
I'm just thinking if you guys ever wanted to go beyond the theme of fish, like if we do a remodel or redesign, just so
I
there's
am,
more
yeah, I am
flexibility.
not suggesting we go with a theme of fish for the next 50 years. No, not at all. Not at all. We looked at the fabrics that were available for the next 5
Yeah.
years. We thought this one was fun and playful, but by no means am I saying.
We can always get a reupholster too.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm for that. So- And it's modular furniture, right? I mean, it
So they can
doesn't,
be pulled apart.
right, it doesn't really have a distinct shape per se.
No, it's 7 different
Pretty-
cubes sort
Yeah,
of
it's
that are put
pretty
together.
cubular. Is that a word? I don't know.
It's a shape, though. So the question is,
I think we all agree,
I think we,
reupholstering.
I think,
is the way to
yes,
go.
I don't even think we need to vote on that. We will, but.
You don't have to vote on any of this, actually, unless you want it to go to Gift and Memorial Fund. Then that's a
Well,
vote.
what I was going to suggest is, how do you feel about taking half the money out of the Gift and Memorial Fund and having Rhonda accrue the other half?
I think that makes sense.
Does that make sense
you
to
do that?
everyone? Well, of course.
Whatever you want.
We could do that.
Because
That's
we're the
it.
trustees. No.
No, but I think that I think it's a good use of the Gift and Memorial Fund money.
Yeah,
Yes,
And
that is. And that makes it a nice gift to the children's.
Yeah.
And it's, yep, I like that.
you like that? Is everybody comfortable? Can I have a motion that we provide half of what the cost will be of approximately 6,000? So it comes in at 62, we're in the ballpark, because nothing is going to be exact.
I'll motion to.
Okay, Jen moves, Rachel seconds. All in favor? Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing all that
Yeah.
legwork. to
Yeah,
figure it out.
yeah. Thank you, thank you.
And now
It's a lot of fun.
you get to keep talking and tell us about your plans for next year.
Oh, yeah.
So, So at the end of each year, I do like to plan ahead for the following year. It takes a while, especially when you're bringing change to a staff, to bring everybody on board. So if I know ahead of time that these are projects that the board approves of, I can start working on that change that has to come from within the organization. So this is what I have come up with that I would like to do in 2023. I'm open to additional ideas as the year goes on. This is just what I am proposing, and it might change, you know. I would just love your input. So did you want me to go through each item, or did you?
Well,
I really loved when you were researching the best hours that the library should be open. We've been stuck with the same hours for some time, and something that me personally, I would have loved to have the library open at 9 o'clock, only because if you're driving to work, you can maybe just get something quickly and whatever, but, or if there's things happening in the community center already, then maybe we can adjust, but I loved that you were looking at that as a possibility.
That's great. And
well, I think it needs to be looked at, and maybe it doesn't take a whole year to research. Maybe you could try a pilot project and something like being open early 2 days a week and closing an hour earlier on those 2 days.
So when I say 2023 plans, it doesn't mean I'm going to take a whole year to do any of these. You know, these are just the things that, you know, I'll be thinking of in 2023, and I can address something earlier than later if that's what you choose. But just remember that the 2023 budget was the salaries, the hours are already set in place. So if we decide to make changes in our hours in 2023, we don't have a budget for extra hours. We would have to take away some hours.
Well, I'm not talking.
That's why I want it to be a very careful study, because what we start, it's very hard to take away.
Right, and I was not talking about changing the number of hours,
Oh, okay.
but allocating the hours differently. So instead of
Same here.
10 in the morning until 9 at night,
Yes.
maybe
Right.
9 in the morning until 8 at night. Try that a couple days a week and see how that works. I mean,
There's plenty
there's
of
lots
ways.
of different ways to look at it, lots of
Right.
different ways to serve people.
And there's lots of different ways to kind of get metrics, because people count, or even if you go on Google, they'll tell you, they have bar graphs, and you can kind of see when more calls are coming into the library, and it's kind of dead at the end of the library or something like that. So you can look at different metrics.
Yeah, and any ideas you have, please send my way.
Yeah.
So that when we have this project in place, of course, I'll come to you and tell you what we've done so far, and if you have other ideas, we'll continue to research or come up with decisions together.
Rhonda, I love the Library of Things idea.
Good.
Me
I
too.
brought some of my students to the Webster Public Library this past week for a field trip, and I was looking at some of their things, and I didn't even realize that you could borrow some things, but there are some things that you might only use once or twice.
Right.
Or that you might want to try out before you spend the money to buy it for yourself. And they had some really neat things that it was very creative. And so I love all the things that you're listed here, a lot of the things that I saw there.
I noticed
So-
something similar at the Webster Library when I was there last time. They have like shaped cake pans.
Yeah, that's what I was
that
thinking.
you're only ever going to use once maybe, and who wants to store that in their kitchen? But if you
Holiday
can go
cookie
down.
cutters,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, so I think that's a really cool idea.
Great, I'm
Or
glad.
puzzles, like people who don't cook. I mean, like,
Yeah,
do
you
it
do a
once.
puzzle and then you're done with it, and you
Yeah.
probably aren't going to just routinely do the same puzzle.
Right.
No.
I just like that you're forward-thinking and planning projects for the year. That's
Good,
exciting.
thank you.
Yes.
I was going to say you could tie your marketing project into the research on the best hours. If you thought about doing a newsletter or some kind of electronic communication to the people who have library cards, and MCLS should be able to give you that list.
We do have that.
Well, then you could do like an out. Don't expect everybody to come to the website, although that would be great.
No,
But
we
to-
have an e-newsletter every month that goes out.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I get that.
You have to sign up for it because we, like,
See, that's the
probably, but when people sign up for a library card, there's there's a sense of privacy. So I think probably before I came, I'm guessing that library card notice were notified that this was coming to be, and they can click on a link to sign up for the e-newsletter.
Can we help you?
Security.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm sorry, I couldn't see that.
So because of that premise of privacy, we can't send periodic newsletters out to anybody with a library card. If people sign up for a library card and give their email, it's just for the transaction of library services, not for extras. So we can once in a while put out an email blast reminding people that the e-newsletter
I
is
think
available.
that would be a good thing, because of course I got my library card back in the dark ages before.
I never knew.
There's so many things we can do to market this.
Yeah, I never knew about that newsletter. So like, I think
Yeah.
even just some posting saying that, hey, we have a newsletter,
Yes.
sign up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Because I
probably
didn't know
something
about it.
to
I
look
would
at
have
as well.
signed up.
Yeah,
I would have signed up too.
yeah. I'll make a note of that. There are definitely things we can do with that.
And one note on the policies and procedures, the board is the group that votes on the policies and comes up with them in conjunction with you.
Right,
And
right.
then you come up with the procedures to go with the policies. And I think our confusion now is that they were all lumped together, and I think that's kind of something that needs to be pulled apart.
And I've been doing that since I've begun,
I know that,
absolutely.
yeah, but I just want that clarified.
Absolutely. The policies, what I'm looking at here is the policy, not just updating the policies as needed, but I don't think that that our staff members are aware of all of the policies, and they have to be educated in our policies so that they can fulfill the needs of the policy, right? To follow the policy.
Well, I
So I
think
just want to make it easier for staff members as the board approves policies, going forward, that the staff members know where to find those policies when the need arises and know how to put them into action.
And maybe in this whole process, we could organize them in a way that would make them helpful to
Right.
staff. So if there's a set of policies that is concerned with dealing with the public, how to handle questions that are difficult, or something like that, so people know that they can go to that section of the policy manual and find
Right.
those. I just think that there are different ways of
Absolutely.
doing that.
So any concerns or questions about this list?
My only other question was the Ruth Bremen Room. When is that going to take place?
I'm waiting for word from the town on when the funding will be in place.
I think the funding is in place. I think that it is our contingency fund.
Oh, it is in place. It's not in place.
No, I asked that
Okay.
question the other day. I
Oh,
asked that
good.
question, and the answer was that the money that was secured by Jen Lunsford, Assemblywoman Lunsford, that's in place, but the ARPA money has been designated for certain things, and those things will be, come 2023, be able to be funded. This request came after the fact, so it's potentially, but it's not a given. So the thought is that, you can go ahead and start it with the money you have, but you may not have that extra ARPA money.
Well, the money that we have is not going to go very far with this project. So I think that we need to look at the money in our contingency fund and decide if we want to spend some of that. I know we said we would pay, the trustees have agreed to pay for the furniture out of the Gift and Memorial Fund. And the money from Assemblywoman Lunsford is going towards the kitchen. And that leaves us a gap of about $60,000. So I don't know that anybody wants to start unless we just know that that's where the money's going to come from. And
Right.
hopefully there would be some ARPA money left over and we would be reimbursed.
Is that money coming from,
The federal government.
is that prioritized by need for other support areas?
We had a long process. We had public hearing. We had a list that the employees put together of things that would work towards fulfilling the requirements and all that. And, it was quite open and out there for the, this year. Now, this is, if there's money left over from all that,
Right.
potentially, but I can't speak to that. And that's, I asked the question to our budget director, and she said it's, potentially. That's the thing, so if you want to.
Pretty open.
If you could do the kitchen, do the kitchen, but if you're waiting
But you
to
can't do the
before
kitchen
you do
in
everything else.
isolation. It has to be part,
Yeah.
the way it's designed, it would have to be part of,
And that should have been thought of before it was submitted to Assemblyman Lunsford, I guess, I don't know.
well,
That was done over
I know,
a year
but
ago.
prior to
when
you,
was
I know,
here.
I know.
I mean, maybe that's a
And we
discussion
didn't
we should
see the
have in early
letter.
2023. Maybe we should separate it out and go ahead with the kitchen. I mean, if we're not getting a firm answer from the supervisor, maybe that's a direction we can at least consider.
why don't you look at the estimate again? And see, and look at what the other costs are.
Okay.
And talk with some of the people like Jim Krukman from the town and say, how far would this money go in doing what we want in the kitchen?
Okay. We could do that.
Because I know that's got to be frustrating for all of you in the library, and it's frustrating for us, because we would like to see that done.
Well, it's been a long time since anything has been done, so, and even though it's an intermediate step, it's still a step that will, add to our community, so.
Well, yes, it'll make the room so much more pleasant for everybody who uses it, which is really what
Especially if we're going to have a library of things, and we're going to bridge some relationships with the friends and the foundation, and we're supporting all those fundraising activities.
While you're talking, would you like to give a report on the trustee selection process?
See, open your mouth.
You're next.
Okay. What's this? All right. The search committee received applications from interesting candidates who were interested in applying for our 3 trustee positions. The committee met with them, each candidate, on November 21st. And at this time, I believe I have to do I need to make a motion, or am I just giving you information?
No, you have to make a motion. You
Okay.
have to.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve our proposed. Appoint our new board members. They are Harish Nayak and Anna Cooper-Williams and Justin Araki. And these 3 board members will be appointed at the town of Penfield's first meeting of the 23 on January 4th. So, any questions? Any comments? The committee want to say anything? Have I left anything out?
Does anyone want to second it? Brett, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brett.
I just want to say I was on the committee, and I think that all 3 will be, they're very excited and enthusiastic about, and for different reasons, for bringing different things to the library. And so I think they'll be a great addition to our board.
I had a chance to look at their resumes, and I don't know what you think. If you think it would be all right with them, I would be happy to share the resumes with the group and with Rhonda, so everyone has a chance to see their background. Do you think they would be all right with that?
They have an issue with it. I mean, they allowed the board, the community
Okay.
member to.
Yeah.
Well, then let me send those out, because I think that I was very impressed with the quality of the 3, and, look forward to meeting them and working with them.
So we definitely would like to welcome all three of those board members
Yes.
to our deed.
Well, can we vote?
Oh, yes, we should vote, shouldn't we?
All in favor of appointing those three? Harish, Anna, and
Justin.
it's unanimous. Thank you. And Rachel, would you like to give the report of the nominating committee?
Yes, the nominating committee met to discuss officers for next year, and we would like to nominate Brett as president, Jen as vice president, Megan for secretary, and Niraj as the finance officer.
Thank you. I think this is a wonderful slate, and I'm wondering, is there a motion that we adopt the slate of candidates unanimously? Judy?
I send out that representation here.
Okay. Is there a second? Niraj, okay. All in favor of adopting the slate unanimously? Thank you very much. And at the end of the meeting, I'm going to hand over the gavel to Brett. So he can run our meetings from now on. We do have some other business to do. We have to do the claims auditor report. And I will say that for the past 2 years, I have been president, and the year before I was finance officer, and so I haven't done claims auditor. And I looked at the list of names, and in January, it's me. I hope I remember. But Jen, would you like to give the report?
I would like to motion that we approve the vouchers in the amount of $57,764.73.
Thank you, Megan. Seconded. All in favor? Thank you. Please remember, January 3rd, we have a very brief meeting at Deanna's desk to approve the expenses from this meeting through the end of the year. It'll take us 5 minutes, but we need to approve those before the town can pay its final bills for the year.
Barbara, I cannot be at that meeting because we'll be traveling home from vacation.
Okay. We do need a quorum, so that means that everybody.
Oh, wait, that's the 3rd. That's Tuesday?
It's Tuesday.
Oh, I should be here. I better be here.
Good.
Sorry, I was thinking it was
That's good, because we
Monday.
do need,
I'll
the
be
new
here.
people can't vote. Rachel will be off the board at that point, and
I'll be there.
we'll need to have everybody there. So Brett, Niraj, Judy, me. That'll be 6. That'll be good. So 6 o'clock, Deanna's desk. We'll approve the vouchers for the end of the year, and then we'll have our regular meeting on January 17th. This is Rachel's last meeting with us as a trustee, and Rachel has been just a wonderful colleague for all of us, and she has stepped up and she has done some wonderful things besides being a great person. So we are really going to miss you. And thank you for being our personnel officer and all the work you did with the employee survey and with the search committees of various types and other work. So we'll have new trustees and we're looking forward to them, but that doesn't mean we won't miss you.
Well, thank you all for all of your work, and I'll be watching. So keep working hard.
Viewership will go up.
It'll go up by 1. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to serve as president. This has been an interesting experience, and I've learned a lot, and it's been very rewarding to work with each of you. And I look forward to the 4th person on the list that Linda's turning over to the board is me, and I'm going to be up for reappointment. So I'm going to still be here, but I won't be an officer, so that'll be a great thing. And one other thing, your committee preferences, please send them to Brett, because that is his job between now. Next meeting is to
Congratulations,
assign
Brett.
committees. And Linda, would you take a picture of gavel passing. I'm going to adjourn the meeting, and then I'm going to pass the gavel to Brett.
Gavel.
No, go in.
Hold on.
Oh, over there's nice.
Very official, passing the gavel.
I do not want to be in this.
Thank you.
Hey, I'll be checking your Facebook.
It's all yours. Congratulations. Okay.
Yep, meeting, your last time, Barbara. Need to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, we need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
There you go.
Okay. Brett
Doesn't
moved.
want to give up.
Megan seconded. All in
you.
favor? Aye. That's it.
She was not giving
Thank
that
you.
up. She was like, if I don't do that, if we don't adjourn the meeting.